Camp SAYLA, a Henry County facility meant to help troubled teens, had their license reinstated. News 4's Will Polston is joining us live in studio now. Will, what exactly does this mean for the facility?
Well, Kinsley, the license just means that Camp SAYLA can open back up, but it's up to the Henry County officials to send kids to the program. So, though they are technically back in business, their future could still be in question.
They found several violations.
Just after Kenyatta Danzy was arrested for multiple counts of child abuse at Camp SAYLA, the Department of Youth Services visited the camp. The state found several violations at the facility.
Our staff reported holes in the walls, beds that the youth was using that was broken. We saw some plumbing issues that was of concern. We looked at several showers that were not in use.
Due to the violations, the license was suspended, not due to the criminal proceedings. To get the license back, DYS required a few changes.
They was able to adequately satisfy our concerns as well as show where they have fixed all the different issues that we identified.
DYS did not let the abuse claims go unnoticed.
Prior to us even reinstating the license, they had to show where they brought in staff and retrained the staff.
The state says they do not have the ability to shut down the camp. They say that's the county's decision. DYS affirmed those actions are not supported by their organization.
We definitely support youth being treated correctly and being treated fairly and right. And hopefully whatever happens, whatever law enforcement the things necessary to happen, punishment will be given.
Well, I went by Camp SAYLA earlier today, both the girls and the boys campus, and they both seem to be unoccupied. Seems as of now they will remain closed unless another kid is assigned to the program by a judge. Kinsley?
Will Polston, thank you. Kenyatta Danzy, the Camp SAYLA worker arrested recently, waived his case to a grand jury. A date for trial has not been set as of today.